I've 21 male, never had much luck with the ladies. I've never been one to hook up. And I had one girlfriend in my life when I was a junior in high school that lasted about 9 months. I've been on Hinge since my friends told me to get back there. I met Sam twice now. We went and got some drinks, then we went on a hike on a nature preserve by my house. One of the things we talked about was her love for these cookies at this local shop by our houses. I agree, the cookies are fantastic, and she went on to say it's the best cookie in the world. I was updating my 75-year-old grandma on this situation. We're very close. She tells me to be spontaneous and surprise her. So I work at a different location on Thursday versus Friday. Thursday, my drive home takes me past the cookie place. Friday, my drive to work takes me past Sam's work. I decided to take my grandma's advice. Thursday night, I picked up a bag of her favorite cookies. And today on my way to work, I left them on her windshield outside of her work. She told me where she worked and I recognized her car. I got to work today and told 2 female coworkers about this. They're roughly my age. I think one is 22 and the other is 25. They said, full stop. You gotta go get those cookies. That's extremely creepy. She didn't ask for the cookies. She didn't invite you to show up at her work. You went on 2 dates. That's very weird. She's going to be creeped out for sure. I told them how my grandma said it was a good idea and a sweet thing to do. They told me that my grandma is old and times have changed. Maybe when consent was less important, it may have been seen as cute, but now it's creepy and intrusive. So now I'm sitting here at work thinking, if I need to do a mad dash back to her work and retrieve said cookies, I know she won't be going to her car for lunch for a couple of hours, so I have a little time. You are the idiot. It's more than a little creepy to go to someone's work, uninvited, with something they mentioned once, figure out which car belongs to them, and then leave it there? This will either go over really well and she'll love it, or she'll react as your coworker suggested. A better option would have been to text her this morning that you're planning on grabbing some cookies from that one shop that you both like so much, and would be happy to swing by and drop off a few quickly. I don't think there's any way I would eat cookies that had been left out where any passersby, squirrels or raccoons could have messed with them. I would never eat food left on my car regardless of who put it there. OP, would you? Yeah, no, dude. Grandma didn't say, leave cookies that could be laced with literally anything, as far as this woman knows, on a car whose movements you're not supposed to be tracking in the first place. Go get them, text Sam, and see if she wants to meet up so you can give them to her and explain your reasoning. At least that's what I'd tell you if I wanted to encourage the continuation of this relationship. Because if you honestly don't see the problem here, I'd much rather warn Sam to run. Not the idiot. Dude, you did nothing wrong. Ignore the people screaming red flags. One of my coworkers literally said they called the cops because a fellow student with a crush left a flower on their sister's car. Their first response to a flower left on a car was to alert the authorities. You're good. You should probably let her know just because, depending on the packaging and weather, they could be ruined, stolen, or attract animals. But that's not a creepiness issue, just pragmatic. Update. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to text her and let her know. I'll probably apologize, say I thought it was a nice thing, and was told by coworkers it could be perceived as wrong. So I'm apologizing in case it came off that way. Maybe I did something stupid, but to label me a stalker seems extreme. So I, 25 female, and my wife, 23, have a toddler daughter. And recently my wife's best friend has been living with us because she had nowhere else to go. With her, she brought her red-tailed boa. We set up the boa's enclosure in the living room because that was the best space for her. Our living room is large, and we have a higher-up shelf that is perfect for the enclosure. Now, the issue is her friend is not a good pet owner. She's constantly leaving the doors open to the enclosure, and we'll just randomly come out and see her sneak in random places. We have both warned her that if she continues to do this, she won't be welcome in our home any longer. Well, recently she went out of town and promised she had properly shut the enclosure doors. We believed her, and she went on her way. Later that day, my wife was making lunch while our daughter watched her TV show in the living room. Suddenly, she heard our daughter crying, and when she ran in there, she saw the snake was out of the enclosure and had tagged our daughter, who was screaming on the floor. My wife put the snake up quickly and called me at work saying she was taking our daughter to urgent care because she was scared she needed stitches. She thankfully did not. We called her friend and told her this was the last straw. We're rehoming her snake because she bit our daughter. Her friend starts yelling and rushes home, and that's when we tell her we didn't rehome her snake, but we're kicking her out because she can't be a responsible pet owner, and it caused our child pain. She started crying and saying she didn't know what to do, and we told her we were sorry, but she had warnings about this. She called us witches and left, and now my wife's other friends are saying we were over dramatic and mean for not only tricking her, but kicking her out as well. Am I the idiot? Edit, I don't blame the snake. We said we were rehoming the snake because we needed her home ASAP. We couldn't lock the enclosure because she had the key for the lock, and she wouldn't come home otherwise. It wasn't to add unnecessary drama. Super obvious, not the idiot. Imagine giving a single flying hoot what any of the other friends thought after this other idiot's neglect harmed your child. Tell them all to get a hike. You made it very clear to the friend what was expected of her regarding the pet, and she ignored it. Goodbye. The dang snake bit your child. I feel like I need to clarify here. Were you aware that friend was bringing a big honking snake along for the ride? Or was she all like, surprise, when she got to your doorstep? But please don't interpret my snark as anti-snake. Snake gonna snake. I also don't blame the snake for the negligence of the owner. Everyone's the idiot. What was she expecting? Snakes are not safe animals to have loose around toddlers. She should have known this and done her due diligence to ensure that it would not become an issue. You're doing her a favor, and she's a guest in your home. It is her responsibility to make sure she's not endangering your child. But no sane or competent person allows a boa constrictor near a toddler, period. Would you rather she be around a viper? Goodness, the woman stays at your house while she gets her stuff together and can't even keep her snake enclosure closed. I can't imagine being that entitled and stupid. All these friends who are upset can take her in. She put her pet and your daughter in danger. It's unacceptable. My wife and I are both 31. After discussing it for months, we decided to get a dog back in September. Our other dog had passed from old age. We went through a shelter, but she was a puppy when we got her at 5 months old. My wife has severe ADHD. This means she gets distracted and sidetracked very easily. Well, our dog, Wendy, has proven to be slightly more complicated than our last dog. Until about a month ago, my wife was very patient and understanding. After that, however, I think she got burnt out. One minute she was great and patient, the next she was just done. See, for some reason, the dog constantly whines. We brought it to the vet, and they can't seem to find anything wrong and suggest we do things we're already doing. Dog parks, extra walks to exert energy, etc., thinking she's whining from not being stimulated enough. We bring her to the park twice a day and do numerous walks between. Plus, we have a 5-acre plot, and she runs constantly. We have a behavioralist who comes twice a week and has been for 4 months, and even he says he's stumped and thinks she just might be a whiner, whining for no apparent reason. Again, I think my wife just got burnt out. Mix that with how much the dog whines and my wife having ADHD and getting distracted by it, and it's been rough. So she went out on the porch with a book yesterday afternoon, and I went out to do yard work. When I came out, Wendy followed and started whining per usual. My wife slams her book shut and walks inside. My fault, she said she needed alone time. I happened to forget my shears indoors, so I came back in 5 minutes later, and the dog followed, still whining. My wife is sitting at the table with her book. She looks up and says, "I'm trying to read, and I can't do that with the whining. I've read the same chapter twice now." I told her I was sorry and went back outdoors. Around dinner, I walked in the kitchen to talk to my wife, and the dog was sitting at my feet, whining. My wife kept forgetting what she was talking about from being distracted by it, and finally snapped and said, "Can you get the damn dog out of here so I can think?" My wife does not curse, so I told her she was being dramatic. She stared at me before grabbing her keys and purse. I asked where she was going, and she said, "Since I'm already being dramatic, I might as well kick it up a notch. I'm going to my sister's to get a break." I'm being told I'm an idiot because I'm not taking this seriously and should have just put the dog in the other room so we could talk without the constant whining, which I know is driving my wife insane. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot for driving your wife nuts, knowing she has ADHD and needed a break, which she communicated to you, then calling her dramatic when she had enough after you repeatedly ignoring her boundaries. Don't just own up to the fact that you shouldn't have called her dramatic. Own up to how consistently dismissive you were of her boundaries. In what world would calling someone dramatic be productive? You already knew she was having issues with the whining, and instead of just going, "Shoot, yeah, the dog's annoying. Let me put her in the other room," you went aggressive. Not the idiot. And please don't have kids with her. If she can't handle a dog whining, she will never be able to handle a baby crying. Honestly, I think you should rehome the dog, but only if she flips out again. Losing it in front of the dog doesn't make it feel comfortable. My mother-in-law would freak out in front of her dog a lot, and he always looked stressed and awkward. So we took him out of that, and now he's jumping around and actually playing. I agree. It sounds like your wife just really doesn't like Wendy, probably because of the whining. So now every little thing the dog does annoys her. Maybe you should find a new home for the dog, since it really isn't working out with you guys. It's not good for your wife or the dog. I, 28 male, have been with my girlfriend, Haley, 24, for around 6 years. She grew up on the West Coast, while I'm from the East Coast, where she came for college. We never left and now live together in Massachusetts, while her family and her friend Lauren, 24 female, still live in California. Despite living on opposite sides of the country, she and Haley met in high school and are still very good friends. They text frequently and usually get together when my girlfriend returns to LA to visit her family. I've only met Lauren twice, and we didn't talk much. Lauren recently floated the idea to Haley about taking a trip to New York together. They're both huge musical theater fans who attended many shows together when Haley still lived in Cali and hadn't seen each other since before the global issue started. So Haley said yes and was excited. I decided to ask if I could come along too. Haley gets really bad anxiety, and I'm often the only one who can calm her. Also, I don't want to be away from her that long. It'd be a chance to get to know Lauren better, etc. Haley thought this was a great idea and asked Lauren if I could come along, but she said no. She said that she barely knew me and wasn't going to be a third wheel on her own trip and just wanted to spend the time with her old friend. This kind of made me angry. This is my girlfriend of 6 years we're talking about here. I'm a huge part of Haley's life now, and Lauren would have to deal with that. Haley told Lauren that she felt safer with me there, since they were both mid-20s women open to harassment. And I'm not gonna lie, that's a huge concern in a city like New York. And Lauren called that ridiculous and misogynistic and made a rude joke about how she had 5 inches on me and didn't think I'd be that big and scary on the streets of New York City. That's hardly true. She's 5'9" and I'm 5'6", super below the belt, and made me think she was a total witch if I didn't already. Haley said it would be a chance for me and her to get to know each other, which she said was a huge load of BS and an excuse to spy on Haley. Now, my girlfriend isn't going and sees my side, but she's also disappointed that she isn't able to go with all 3 of us. I told her that we could go on our own trip soon, and we're a couple and a package deal. Am I the idiot? What is the cinnamon toasted codependent BS I just read? You should not be aiming to be a package deal, but 2 healthy individuals in a committed partnership that exist outside of the relationship. Instead, you sound grossly controlling and insecure, and your poor girlfriend doesn't know how unhealthy this is, since she's been with you her entire adult life. This is not how a healthy relationship goes. This is how abusers begin to isolate their victims. Please reassess your entire outlook on relationships and let your girlfriend have her own life. Lauren wasn't the one being the witch here. You are. You are the idiot. You're going to mess up Haley's friendship with this girl and any other friend she has if you insist on this package deal BS. Why would she want to be a third wheel with a couple, one of whom she barely knows, for a whole trip, instead of getting quality time with her close friend? Couples who can't spend time apart end up toxically codependent and with no friends. It is also deeply ridiculous and misogynistic to suggest that two adult women can't handle themselves alone in New York. Millions of women go through New York every day without a male escort. Grow up and stop discouraging your girlfriend from having a life. My friend and I went out to a bar, and a guy she once worked with came up to us. He decided to join us without asking us if it was okay, and started talking about himself endlessly. He spoke about his job and how his fiancée left him 2 years ago, and he couldn't find a girlfriend since then because women only want money. Dude is 34, lives with his father, and works as a waiter, mainly in the summer. My friend tried to console the guy, telling him that it was not true and that he would find a woman who loved him for himself and didn't care about his lack of money. The guy was not having any of it. He kept insisting that women only want money, turned to me, and told me to be honest. I was honestly really annoyed with this guy. I told him that women care about many things, not just money, but money is an essential requirement, especially if someone wants kids. He said he wants 4. In this economy, you need 2 decent incomes if you want your family to live comfortably. I would never date a guy who earns little, but that's just one of the many requirements I have. He said, wow. Finally, a woman admitted to being a gold digger and asked me if I'm saying he doesn't deserve love unless he's rich. I explained to him again and told him he was not entitled to a woman who would give him 4 kids. He needs to be realistic. He can't support himself, plus 2 kids from his salary, and it would be unfair of him to expect his wife to support herself, plus the 4 kids alone, or live in poverty. Guy called me a gold digger again, told me I'm the problem with modern women, and finally left us alone. My friend told me that she was annoyed with him too, but I kicked this guy while he was already down and reinforced his wrong views on women. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He asked for your honest opinion and you gave it. He shouldn't have asked if he didn't want to hear it. Wanting a partner that can solidly contribute to the relationship, even if not equally, does not make you a gold digger. Sounds like a misogynist on his way to incel. Money doesn't matter to me, but motivation does. Part-time waiter living with his dad does not sound hot. I want a partner, not a burden. I would not mind making more than my guy, but he has to be trying. He was projecting and searching for a woman who would agree with his projection. He's the gold digger. He's the one who wants a woman to support him, his 4 children, herself, and probably all of his hobbies as well, probably while she also does most of the chores and childcare. He's not your work in progress. It is not your job to change his opinion on women. Your friend is enabling his I'm the victim mentality and behavior by pandering to him.